JB Cycles here with an update on Bitcoin on October the 18th. So we are starting to see Bitcoin breaking down, and the next 17-week cycle low is in December. So that could mean we are starting a downtrend into December at this point. Let's have a look at the 17-week cycle. The 17-week cycle is illustrated here in red. I would like to go back and look at the previous major top in 2021. So what we have here, as you see, we have this 17-week cycle low here, which kind of extended, was a late low, but let's pretend it made a low at the ideal low at this point. So you see we rally with the red cycle up to here, and then we go down to the cycle low at this point. Then a new 17-week cycle begins, and we rally up a big double top. But as you see, we make this early top, and then we start breaking down. We have this trend line from a 17-week cycle low to the next 17-week cycle low, and we break this trend line. And this happens before the cycle has topped. And then we get, the first bearish A move, making a low at the ideal cycle low. We make a bounce B, and then the final C. So this is where the major damage was done in this downtrend. We have this A, B, C, and after that it's just making a bottom formation. Now we have a potential similar situation going on, right now, and as you see at this point. So let's zoom in. So again, like the previous, we start at this low at the cycle low, and we rally with the cycle, and then you see we have this cycle low. Well, it was a little bit late cycle low, but anyway, it's around the typical cycle low. So we have a 17-week cycle low at this point, and the next one here. So I'm drawing this trend line, and then as you see we started a new 17-week cycle. We tried to rally, we are making this small double top, and now we are starting to break down, and it's happening pretty much at the same point in the cycle as the previous one. So we are starting to see a potential bearish left translated cycle, and we could, we have now we are starting this A move down, then bouncing up, in January, and then the damaging C move down in the spring. So we have A, B, C, and then we don't know what will go on in the summer, but there should be some kind of a low sometime in the summer, or at worst in the fall. So we have, in my opinion, two similar setups. So we have this bearish left translated cycle that's starting to break down. So that's how it looks. And here I have the one cycle offset. We see we have not yet broken the offset, but could do so soon. And the other cycle I'm following is the 4-week cycle, and as I showed you last time, back here in the spring, we were following this red 4-week cycle, but then around here in the summer the market or the cycle shifted. So around this point, you see now the 4-week cycle lows are at this midpoint, and we see the next major low is again at the midpoint, and here at the midpoint, and then here at the midpoint. So last weekend I didn't draw this, but I tried to explain what my scenario was, and actually, you know, this, something like that was my scenario. I realized last weekend, you know, being at this point, the 4-week cycle has a 2-week oscillation within it, or a sub-cycle. So I said we were probably going to bounce this previous week, and then we should go down into around October the 24th, I said. And you know, that's where we are now. And you see, we are having this kind of a double top, and yeah, it would be a neckline somewhere here, and we are breaking down. Yeah, I guess we should not give up this neckline immediately, and there's still room, you know, this weekend for trying to hang on to it. But next week we should see a further breakdown. You know, at least that's what the cycle says. So into around Friday or next weekend, you know, the 24th. What is that? That's Friday, isn't it? Yeah. So the cycle is suggesting downside into Friday, and then we are bouncing up. So you know, we could maybe just back test this broken neckline, or potentially we break above it. You know, maybe we go all the way up to back test this trend line, or you know, maybe this longer trend line up to back test that one. I don't know. We could have some false breaks here, but we'll probably not give up that easy. But anyway, up, and I think after that point the market will give up, and then we really will start the downtrend into the 17-week cycle low in December. And the downtrend should go into around next summer, where also the 3.5-year cycle has a low. So I started with Bitcoin, and I think, you know, this will influence the S&P, or I should say maybe it's the other way. Well, these two markets are correlated, so if Bitcoin should break down, I guess we should see weakness in the S&P this coming week. So we have to see in my S&P video later. Yeah, probably do it right away now. So see you later. Bye bye.